Hey everyone, Professor Hank here, and today we're going to talk about how you can separate your classes into specification and implementation files. So normally when classes are written, they get separated in this way. You have a header file, usually has a .h extension, and you have an implementation file, which is a .cpp extension. So your function definitions generally go into the implementation file, and then you have your class declaration that goes into the specification file, which is going to be just the class declaration, which includes your member variables and your function prototypes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the header file to our project. So go over to your Solution Explorer and then right-click on Header Files, and then there'll be an option Add, and then select New Item. You can't see it here because of OBS, but you'll be able to see it when you do it. It's there. And then name the header file rectangle.h. We're going to make a rectangle here, but you name your header file whatever you want for your project. Then click Add when you're ready to do that. And then you're going to see that it gets added to the header file section, automatically populating this little preprocessor directive here, which we'll talk about here in a second. So under source files, we're going to add our implementation file. So go to source files, right click on that in the Solution Explorer, do the same process, except this time you're going to name your implementation file. Rectangle.cpp. Again, you name it whatever you need to for your project, but I'm making a rectangle, so it's rectangle.cpp. So this is going to be our implementation file, and this is where the function definitions go. Okay, now let's go back to our header file, rectangle.h. Click on that in the Solution Explorer. And this is again, our specification file. And this is where the class declaration goes. Class declaration goes here. So we'll say class and rectangle. And for my rectangle, I'm going to have a couple variables, and one of those variables will be named length. Another one of those variables will be named width. Those are going to be private. And then I'm going to have a few functions here, a couple mutators, a couple accessors. They'll be public, so they're going to be part of my public interface. So we'll have a set method, a mutator called set length, and it will simply accept a double as its only argument. Then we will have another mutator called set width. It will accept a double as its only argument, and it'll simply update the width variable. Those two guys are my mutators because they mutate the object. They update the private fields, the data that's stored in the object. Now I'm going to have some accessors here, a couple getter functions. So they're going to return doubles. We're going to have get length, which is simply going to return the length that's stored in the rectangle object. And since it's an accessor, we're going to mark it const, as you should do. And these are going to be my accessors. So then we're going to have get width marked const, and we'll have an accessor that is going to calculate the area of our rectangle. Okay, so that is just about done. We're going to come back to Pragma here in just a bit, but let's go now and define our functions. Go back to rectangle.cpp. So here we need to let the compiler know about the rectangle class. So we have to include rectangle.h. Okay, because the compiler is going to start compiling this, and it's going to go from line 1, 2, 3, and all this, and it's going to need to know what a rectangle is. And so we'll include the rectangle.h, so that way it'll have all of this information that it'll be able to work off of. So it'll know about these prototypes here, for example, and then it'll also know about, the name of the class. So that way when we use the class name in the scope resolution operator, it'll know what the heck we're talking about. So let's go ahead and define those functions. So we'll have void rectangle, which we can do because we included rectangle.h, scope resolution operator, and then we got the set length, which is going to accept a single argument and simply set the length to the argument. And then we will have, we'll do the same thing for set width. Okay. And then we're simply going to update the width with the argument. And now we'll do our accessors. So we've got double rectangle get length const, and then that's simply going to return length, right? And we'll do the similar thing with width. So we'll just rename this get width, and this will return width. And then we will do our get area. And then we're simply going to return the product of the length times the width, thereby avoiding having to keep an area variable, thereby avoiding the possibility of having stale data. Okay, so this implementation file is done. Now let's go and use our class. Okay, so we've got our declaration in our specification file. We've got our implementation, our function definitions in our implementation file. So let's go back to main now and actually try to use our class. Hashtag include rectangle.h using double quotes. So you might be wondering, what's the difference between using the double quotes like we did with include rectangle.h and angle brackets like you would with, say, IOStream? Well, the difference here is that when you use angle brackets, that's indicating that you're including a C++ header file, right? So cc type, cstdlib, fstream, right? Those are special for C++, and they're located in the compiler's include file directory. So that has a special designation. But when you use double quotes, you're indicating that this is a custom file that I wrote, and it's going to be located inside of the current project directory. Okay, so that's the difference there. Okay, so now that we've included rectangle.h, we can use our class. So let's go ahead and instantiate an instance of the class. So we'll say rectangle R, okay? And then we'll set it to a couple values, and then we'll just test it. So we'll do set length, set to 3.1, and then we'll set the width to, 2.2, and then we'll call the getArea function. So let's go ahead and run it and test it. So you can see there's the area 6.82. All right, so here's another thing that we have to talk about. Take a look at this. If I pound include IOStream twice, right, I can compile and run without any problems, right? And that's because even though we've included the contents of IOStream multiple times, the compiler doesn't get confused, right? We don't get any compile time errors because we're trying to redefine certain variables, for example, that might be in those header files. That happens because there's special code inside the header files that prevents any problems from happening. Now, remember this thing that we talked about here, or I said that we were going to come back to later in rectangle.h, pragma once? That will be code that will prevent that from happening here. If I go back to main.cpp and then I include rectangle a couple times, 3 times, say, it's going to compile just fine. There's not going to be any problems whatsoever because the first time that I included rectangle.h, the compiler was able to recognize that it was included. And so then subsequent includes of rectangle.h get ignored. Okay, so this is useful because, in big projects, you're going to be including the same header files over and over and over again in different files all over the place. And it's because of this pragma once that we're not having any problems. So let's say that I took this out, okay, and removed it. And we're going to leave it removed for reasons I'm going to explain here in just a second. But now if I go back into main, right, we leave this alone and then we go ahead and we try to compile. Now you're going to see what I'm talking about. We're going to have bleh, it's going to throw up all over the place. Okay, so we clearly need something to deal with this. Now, we're not going to use pragma once. We're not using that. If you're a student of mine, forget that even existed. I mean, the only reason I mention it is because you're going to see it if you do this for any of your projects, but we're not going to use that because it's not standard C++. That works specifically for Windows compilers. Instead, we're following the C++ standard. And so the C++ standard says to use preprocessor directives or preprocessor macros. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, I'm going to introduce to you, I'm going to show you what I mean. So we're going to have if in def, right? So this stands for if not defined, and then we have to come up with a name for something. So we're defining a rectangle here. So I'm going to call this rectangle underscore h. You could make this right here, this little label, this name, this tag, you can make it whatever you want, uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter. It's just by convention, you usually make it all caps and you can't use a period. So we use underscore instead. So they're saying if this is not defined, this thing called rectangle h, then we'll define it. All right. And then we have to have a matching end if here. So after the end of our class declaration, at the end of our file, we'll do end if. So this is kind of like the opening and closing curly braces, if you will, for these preprocessor directives. So what this is going to do is that, let's go back to main. So when we try to include rectangle.h for the first time here, then what will happen is the compiler will see this and go, oh, okay, well, I haven't seen rectangle underscore h before. So then it'll execute this here. It'll say, okay, well, let's go ahead and make a note of it. And then everything in between is going to be something I'm going to remember. All right. So that way, when we try to include it again, this subsequent inclusion gets ignored. So the compiler is going to come back and try to include all this stuff again. And it's going to say, if not defined, rectangle, oh, well, I already defined it. So forget everything else. And then it's just going to set it aside. And then the third time, when we try to include rectangle.h, it's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to say, well, I already have something called rectangle underscore h that I'm keeping track of. So I'm not going to define it again. So in this way, all of this stuff gets skipped after the first inclusion. So now you'll see that when we compile it, it runs just fine. So I just wanted to re-emphasize, especially if you're a student of mine, we don't use hashtag pragma in our class, right? We're using the standard C++ preprocessor directives here, these preprocessor guards. So use those for all of your assignments. All right, so let's take one last look. We've got our header file. We're going to call that rectangle.h. That's under header files. We've got our implementation file. All right, and that's going to be part of the source files. And we've got our main CPP, which is our main program, which is actually using rectangle.h. Here's a quick little glance into my project directory, and you can see that we've got the main.cpp, we've got the implementation file, rectangle.cpp, and then we've got the header file, rectangle.h. So now you know how to separate your classes into implementation files and specification files.